Today we're in the garden for something a little different. Herbs. I have vowed that I want to grow as many as I possibly can and learn how to use them medicinally. So today's video we're going to talk all about lemon balm, and then we're going to make a tincture together. A goal that I've had set for my garden for the last couple of years is to grow my herbal arsenal. So I have every year been adding herbs to the garden, both perennial and annual. One of the ones that I thought was perennial was lemon balm, but I have experienced it not coming back. So if you grow lemon balm, I would love to hear your experience. Here we're in zone 7B, and I've grown it in raised bed and in a pot. And I have had it come back in the raised bed. I've had it not come back in the raised bed, and I've had it come back in a pot, and I've had it not come back in a pot. So I don't know. But this year's lemon balm in this raised bed is so lush and prolific. I have it in another raised bed where it's not doing as well. It seems to be staying dry in that spot. So I don't know. This bed must have been doctored on better, because I've been working on them all ever since we struggled with moisture retention. So anyway, back to the lemon balm. It is huge. Like, it is this big. And it's just like coming out of the side of the box. It makes me smile to see it doing so well. So one of the reasons I wanted to grow lemon balm is because my understanding is that it is super beneficial for stress and anxiety related issues. So it helps your nervous system. It boosts your immune system. People with Lyme's disease have talked about it being a healing herb. So I am planning to make a lemon balm tincture today with some of these beautiful, beautiful leaves. So we're going to get to clipping. Thing you want to keep in mind when pruning any herb, you don't want to take more than a third of the plant at one time. So I wouldn't come out here and just like mow all of this, because then it would struggle to put back out for you. And I wouldn't see why we don't have time left in the season this year for this to put out some more. And this has such a wonderful smell. Oh, it's just like this fresh lemon smell. I love it so much. I am going to make this tincture in a quart jar. So I need enough that will pack down well into the jar. I also plan on drying out some of this lemon balm to use for teas. So if we get inside and we're packing our jar and I have more than I need, I'm just going to set it aside for drying. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is the ones that are big and bushy like this, I'm kind of just pulling them apart a little bit. And then we're going to take scissors to them, and basically I call it activating. So when you clip everything, it's going to activate the herb to release its constituents. So I'm just going to start making a pile here, and then I'm going to pack it into the jar. With tinctures, you're not actually consuming the plant matter. So this will just essentially steep, or whatever you want to call it, for several weeks, and then we will strain everything off. So stems aren't an issue. And if I'm seeing like any raunchy leaves, I'm going to push them to the side. This smell is fantastic. Come here, Tanner.
Yeah.
You smell?
Actually, so like lemonade.
It smells like lemonade. It sure does.
What kind is it?
This is lemon balm.
I like lemon balm. So pretty good.
And if you're not growing lemon balm and this is something you want to do, ask around. Ask your garden friends. Somebody might have some that you could get your hands on. And if that's not an option, put this on your list of things to grow next year. And then there are obviously places you can order tinctures from. Do your research. See if this is something you think could benefit you. And one thing I do plan to do is to come back around after this has set well and do another video, and then also like a testimonial on if I felt that I benefited from it. Okay, so I am using an 80 proof alcohol today, 80 proof vodka. You want to use at least 80 proof, possibly, like I would use higher if you could. I've done some research and it just, some herbalists prefer to use a higher proof, over 100, when doing lemon balm. And I had sent my husband to the store to get me, because I had this bottle and I wanted some that was higher. And he claims, he's like, the tag said, 100 and something. And then I get home and I look at the label and it says 80. So we're going to go with what we have today. If I can get my hands on higher than 80, or if you can get your hands on higher than 80, I would say to use that. But anyway, we're just going to completely cover and there's definitely air bubbles. So you let it settle, and then I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to shake it, and that's going to also fill in some of the air pockets. Down in there. Okay, so I've got this ready to macerate or steep, whatever you want to call it. This is going to probably sit on my table or on the shelf over there in here where it gets gentle sun for about 4 weeks. And then it's going to be moved to a darker cabinet area for the remaining 2 to 4 weeks. So we're going to let this macerate for 6 to 8 weeks before we call it ready and strain it off to use. When we strain it off, I will put it in an amber dropper bottle for daily use, and the remainder will stay in the jar in the cabinet. So the amber dropper bottle will be how I measure dosage. So if you're an adult, it's going to take about half a teaspoon as needed, and that would be 3 of those droppers under the tongue, hold it for as long as you can and then swallow. If that's kind of strong for you, you can dilute it in water. But lemon balm, being a member of the mint family, and just the way that it is considered to be one, I don't know the technical specifics because I'm not technically an herbalist, but it just takes it a little while longer to pull everything out of the plant, all the benefits that are going to be so good for you. That's why we let it sit for so long. So it's a calming herb, and it's something that's going to benefit people who struggle with, like stress and anxiety related things. Just anything that can benefit my nervous system is what I'm looking for right now. So we're going to give this a try. It is not really an herb that you could have too much of, so that shouldn't be a concern. But if you do have interest in trying this, I encourage you to give it a go. And do your research first, though. Don't just take my word for it. And make sure that it seems like something that could benefit you. And then I'd love to hear your feedback. If you are someone who makes this or who takes this and has seen the benefits of it, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Until this is done, we will just let this sit, and I do plan to come back and share with you guys the whole journey all the way through, my experience with taking it. Popping back in really quick because I forgot to mention one important thing. So make sure you guys are labeling your jar. So you want to include what the herb is, maybe even the alcohol of choice, and then the date that you started this, so that when things are going on along, if you're like, oh no, I don't remember how many weeks it's been, you've got the date on there and can look at it. And I also like to set an alarm in my calendar for when I want to strain it off, or if it's needing to be moved around, I'm going to set an alarm on that date to remind me to move my jar. So 4 weeks from now, I'm going to need to move this jar to the cabinet. So I need to set an alarm for that. And then I'll set another one for 2 weeks from then to, 2 to 4 weeks? 2 to 4 weeks from then to strain it off. So just a helpful tip, and then also to make sure that you're not forgetting anything, especially if you're like working with multiple tinctures. It is likely that it could get to where you're not exactly sure what's in that jar and you're not going to remember what you put in there. So always, always, always label your jars. And if you've got a bunch of herbs out in your garden, make sure you get those clipped and dried so that you can have those benefits this winter. I'm doing basil here. Thanks so much for joining me on this video. I hope you'll like and subscribe so we can catch you next time.